Happening now where the COVID-19 vaccination efforts stand both locally and statewide. Plus, why a local congressman is speaking out about the political dealings part of the next COVID-19 relief package.
Well, the clouds are around for the afternoon today, and we've got more cold air on the way. We'll talk about it next. The News at Noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. COVID-19 activity continues to trend in a downward direction here in Chautauqua County. The County Health Department's COVID-19 dashboard reported 45 additional cases and a new death linked to the virus today. Officials say the death is the 128th reported since last year, involving a person in their 80s. The number of active cases dropped slightly from 245 to 239. However, hospitalizations increased by 1 to 29. The 7-day average percent positivity rate is now 4.8%, a drop from 5.2% the day before. To date, over 7,000 people have contracted the virus, with 6,700 recovering. Well, just over 7% of people living in Chautauqua County have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. That according to updated data released by the County Health Department yesterday. So far, over 9,800 eligible residents have taken the first shot, making up 7.5% of the populace. More than 3,400 people have received their second dose, just over 2.5% of residents. Statewide, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says around 10% of the total population has received one dose, making up around 2.5 million people. The governor, following a call with federal health leaders yesterday, explained the state is increasing the number of vaccine shipments to counties by 20% in an effort to speed up availability, yet he still needs more shipments from Washington.
Big question on the call with the White House coordinator is supply. When will the supply increase? The supply will really only increase when and if Johnson & Johnson is approved. The Pfizer-Moderna vaccine are ramping up, but the ramp up is relatively slow.
County officials say they have not seen the boost in shipments yet. Many people remain frustrated over the state's vaccine rollout, with residents having a hard time scheduling appointments. Well, about 1 in 3 Americans say they definitely or probably won't get the COVID vaccine. That according to a new poll that some experts say is discouraging news if the U.S. hopes to achieve herd immunity and vanquish this outbreak. The poll from the Associated Press and NORC Center for Public Affairs Research found that while 67% of Americans plan to get vaccinated or have already done so, 15% are certain they won't, and 17% say probably not. Many expressed doubts about the vaccine's safety and effectiveness. The poll suggests that substantial skepticism presides more than a month and a half into the U.S. vaccination drive that has encountered a few serious side effects. It found that resistance runs higher among young people, people without college degrees, Black Americans, and Republicans. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 33 million Americans, or about 10% of the population nationwide, have received at least one dose, and 9.8 million people have been fully vaccinated. Well, this week, the CDC is expected to update its guidance on sending kids back to the classroom. But as Britt Conway reports, talking about reopening schools has ramped up debate about how to safely do it.
This is what back to school used to look like. Now, nearly a year into the pandemic, sending kids back to the classroom is a debate about safety and a matter of where you live. Some districts have already returned to in-person learning. Many of the country's 13,000 school districts have come up with their own standards for when it's safe to send kids back into schools. But federal guidelines are expected to come out this week. We already know President Joe Biden's goal is to have more than 50% of schools back open by day 100 of his presidency.
And that means some teaching in classrooms. So at least one day a week, hopefully it's more. And obviously it is as much as is safe in each school and local district.
But as much as is safe is where the debate kicks in. Some medical experts say it can be done safely, pointing to a study of 17 rural schools.
The data from schools suggests that there's very little transmission that is happening within the schools, especially when there's masking and distancing occurring.
But for some schools, especially those in more populated areas with older buildings or larger classes, meeting safety guidelines can be a challenge. In several states right now, there are intense negotiations over restarting in-person learning. The head of one of the largest teachers' unions in the country says federal guidance is a step in the right direction.
We've been trying to get unequivocal guidance and the resources since last June.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Britt, thank you. Another element to the debate is the push for teachers to be prioritized for the vaccine as an added layer of protection. Congressman Tom Reed says that he is afraid that Governor Andrew Cuomo will reduce the state's aid to local municipalities if Congress reaches a deal on federal stimulus aid as it stands right now. Reed spoke with reporters during his weekly media call this morning, his call centering around ongoing negotiations with another COVID-19 aid package. The congressman calling out the political dealings between Congress and governors nationwide.
Mark my words, February 10th, you guys are all aware of the little wink-wink deal that's being cut, and I'm calling it out for what it is. I'll probably get killed politically for doing it, but I don't give a damn because the local government's who I care about most, and they're the ones that are going to get screwed because of this deal that's coming down on the state local aid package.
He says that he's supportive overall of state and local aid, adding that he's comfortable with the numbers that are being negotiated thus far. However, he wants to add more oversight on where the money goes. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get a check of some local news headlines that's happening right now. And we appreciate you tuning in. Let us know what you think about these stories and more, or what you're doing today. We simply love to say hi as well. Great to see Lisa. Good to see Kathy, Deb, Josh, Pam, Al, and Linda as well. Hopefully you're all having a great Wednesday out there. Great to see Dave, Kelly, and Bridget too. Well, now let's get a check of our first defense weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter standing by with that. In Dakota, the sunshine is back out there today.
Yes, it is. We've had some peaks of sunshine out there this afternoon. This is a live look over Warren, and traffic okay over the Hickory Street Bridge, and you can see some of the peaks of the sunshine starting to come through some of the cloud cover as well. Had a little bit of snow last night, and early this morning, as we told you, it was really going to be no big deal. Gary, 2.2 inches, Mayville at 2 inches, Cattaraugus, 1.8, Dunkirk 1.6, Little Valley 1 inch, also in Falconer, and a ½ inch here in town. So yeah, the snow wasn't, a big deal, but it was enough to actually add just a little bit onto those snowpacks across the area. The radar is nice and dry, nothing going on right now, but we actually did have a little light lake snow flurry that moved across southern Erie County near Springville. That's tapered off, and basically the snow should be done for the rest of today, but don't be shocked if you do see at least a flurry out there through the afternoon. 25 was the high yesterday. We started the day at 13, 60, and 19 below zero are the record highs and lows for the state. We'll talk more about this 1979 low temperature thing a little bit later on. Very interesting Arctic outbreak that occurred in 1979 starting today. So mostly cloudy and cold. A couple light snowflakes mainly across the hillier terrain of the southern tier. No accumulation expected. Light winds, but there will be at least a little bit of a wind chill index. 21 to 30. Some spots near the Lake Erie shoreline. Yeah, you might get close to that with a west wind averaging 4 to 9 miles per hour. Now we got more cold air on the way for the weekend, and we'll time out what we know about the weekend snow situation in a few minutes with that 7-day forecast in just a few minutes. Justin?
All right, Dakota, looking forward to that. Thank you. Well, additional guidance on how to safely open large venues across the state could be coming as soon as next week. Leaders hinted that guidance will be based on the Buffalo Bills playoff game model, which the state has said was successful in keeping the virus from rapidly spreading. In a nutshell, the Bills game model had attendees get tested for COVID-19 days before entering the stadium for the game. Officials would likely implement the same strategy for other large venues, including those that house sporting events and weddings. Now, regarding weddings and the receptions, the state has already released some guidance there, stating March 15th is the start date that receptions may take place at venues across New York. but at half capacity and a maximum of 150 heads. Additionally, everyone who attends must get tested for COVID beforehand, and health departments must approve the event itself. Well, Republicans in New York State continue to push for a further investigation into COVID-19 deaths in nursing homes. New York State Capitol correspondent Karina Campabianca has the latest on their calls for a federal government probe.
We need the President's Justice Department to look into this, because I think that's the only way we're going to get the answers that we continue to seek.
Last week, Congressman Tom Reed sent a letter along with colleagues to Acting Attorney General Monty Wilkinson, asking the Department of Justice to do an investigation and subpoena the governor and his administration over COVID-19 nursing home policies. Republicans have long criticized the governor's March order requiring nursing homes to readmit COVID-positive patients. The governor has said he was following CDC guidance.
We have relayed our concern and push to make sure that we get an answer to our official request, and we are awaiting, just like everyone else, for an official response to that request.
When White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was recently asked by a reporter if the president would support a federal investigation into COVID-19 nursing home resident deaths in New York, she said it would be up to the Department of Justice to decide on any investigation. In August, under the Trump administration, the DOJ sent a letter to Governor Cuomo requesting data on nursing home deaths and infections. It's unclear if the DOJ is still looking into that.
Not only are we requesting of the Biden administration to give us a response to this request specifically on the AG's report, but we want to hear exactly where the Trump administration justice investigation is and where that is going. And if they did close that out, what were the results of that?
In Albany, Karina Campabianca.
Karina, thank you. We've reached out to the Justice Department for comment, but haven't gotten a response yet. Next here, we'll tell you about changes that may soon be coming to what's in your social media feed. And later, Dakota, he's back with a better handle on what might be coming over this weekend weather-wise. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues on this Wednesday afternoon.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Honest John's has what you're looking for. When you want it good, we're gonna give you lots more.
From freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has what you're looking for. And now 2 great locations, East 2nd Street and Fairmount Avenue. Order takeout or delivery today online at honestjohns.pizza.
You're gonna get it good at Honest John's.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Trending in business news now, Aunt Jemima is no more. The breakfast foods brand from PepsiCo has a new name and likeness. They'll now be under the Pearl Milling Company title and logo. That was the name of the 19th century ready-made pancake mix brand that eventually became Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima and the character's face on the packaging have been long blasted as a racist portrayal of a slave woman. A spokesman from PepsiCo says the new brand will make its debut this June. The Mars Food Company recently removed its Uncle Ben's name and logo from its rice, switching over to Ben's Original. Well, the House impeachment managers will take to the floor for their opening statements in the case against former President Donald Trump this afternoon. Karen Kafa is in Washington with what's ahead in today's proceedings.
The House impeachment managers started yesterday's presentation with a 13-minute video that sought to create a narrative around former President Trump's actions and words and those of the rioters at the Capitol on January 6th. They are in the unique position where the jurors they are seeking to sway were also witnesses to what happened.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
The second impeachment trial of Donald Trump opening with an emotional appeal from lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin to lawmakers who shared his experience at the Capitol on January 6th.
This cannot be the future of America. We cannot have presidents inciting and mobilizing mob violence against our government.
House impeachment managers pre-butting the argument by the former president's legal team that the trial isn't constitutional because Trump has left the White House.
Their argument is that if you commit an impeachable offense in your last few weeks in office, you do it with constitutional impunity. You get away with it.
The Trump defense team in a rambling presentation, among other things, accusing the Democrats of political games.
We are really here because the majority in the House of Representatives does not want to face Donald Trump as a political rival in the future.
Senate Democrats voted to move forward with the trial, joined by 6 Republicans, adding Bill Cassidy of Louisiana.
I'm an impartial juror, and one side's doing a great job, and the other side's doing a terrible job on the issue at hand. As an impartial juror, I'm going to vote for the side that did the good job.
6, still well short of the at least 17 Republicans the impeachment managers need to vote to convict. Today, the clock starts for them to make their case.
There cannot be unity without accountability.
And 9 Democratic impeachment managers will take turns making the case. They have up to 16 hours to do it, spread out over the course of 2 days. That will also give the Trump defense team 2 days to fine-tune their arguments. Sources close to the former president say he was not pleased with their performance yesterday. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Karen, thank you. Prosecutors are expected to introduce more video evidence that they hope reminds senators how they felt during the rush of the Capitol. Well, Facebook is reducing the amount of political content users see in their news feeds. The social media platform says it's making the change for a small percentage of people in Brazil, Indonesia, and Canada this week. It will be applied to a limited number of U.S. users in the coming weeks as well. Facebook says these are initial tests to find the best way to show political content in people's feeds. The company is using artificial intelligence to predict whether a post is related to politics. COVID-19 information from local, regional, and national government agencies is exempt from the experiment. Well, Ronald McDonald is giving our rate fans what they want. McDonald's announcing it's bringing back Orange High C. The non-carbonated but even more sugary drink than soda has been a favorite for about 60 years before the fast food chain removed it 4 years ago. Since then, High C fans have made plenty of noise on social media. It finally worked in a big way. Mickey D's even created a special website where you can track when the drink arrives at a restaurant near you. The rollout is expected to be completed this June. Then McDonald's customers will be able to get a double dose of orange. They can choose either carbonated orange or less bubbly High C. Those full names is High C Orange Laverne Burst, in case you wanted to know. Anyone who has seen it in color can understand why it got that name. Certainly a favorite of a lot of kids, not that healthy though. We thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we talk about the sugary drinks of the day and local news here as well. Certainly interesting nevertheless. Good to see Mark, good to see Ron, Danielle, Kevin, Cassie, and Joseph as well. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Thanks for joining us today. Well, Dakota, a lot of people might be going for that sugary delight here come June.
Are you a fan of the Orange High C?
As a kid, yes. Probably shouldn't have consumed it, though, because now as an adult, especially my girlfriend really pushing the whole health thing in this year, we look closer at what we're actually consuming. And you'd be surprised how much sugar and other artificial things are in common everyday things that we eat. So no high C in my future, unfortunately, if I want to stay in good graces.
My thing is, I was talking about this with the guy that I'm currently dating. We're not boyfriends yet, so we're not going to.
You're talking to him.
Yeah, but
it's put like, the wheels in motion.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't eat the way I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
But it's like, my theory is we're all going to die anyway. So why don't we all just die doing what we love?
Right. Die happy.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that.
My doctor had a few choice words for me yesterday.
That's pretty true. Yeah.
I said that, but anyway.
Oh, well.
Well. But anyway, something we hinted about during First Weather, this today was the beginning of a several-day stretch back in 1979 of incredible Arctic air. These were the low temperatures at the Jamestown airport throughout this whole stretch here. Many days below zero, 24 below zero, 30 below zero on the 12th. And, the whole decade of the 1970s was wild when it came to weather. We had severe weather. We had, lots of violent tornadoes in the 70s. We had extreme heat. We had extreme cold. I mean, the 70s was an incredibly wild year. So if you think the weather is wild today, you should have been around in the 70s when this stuff was going on. I mean, absolutely insanity, but at least we're not that cold anytime soon. Ice coverage on Lake Erie. This is the NOAA modest satellite, and even though we really haven't had a whole lot of clearing to show you the ice, a lot of what you see here actually is the ice coverage. And yesterday, the lake was almost 50% frozen. Now it's almost 80% frozen. And just to compare where it was during the first week of February, only 15%. So that is a significant jump just in the past week or so of the ice coverage on Lake Erie. 26 as a noon hour, no wind to speak of, so we don't have a wind chill index as of right now, so that does feel good. Something that actually occurred on Monday night was a 2.2 magnitude earthquake that occurred near in Genesee County, and this earthquake was not really felt by a lot of people, really wasn't felt down here, but hey, it was an earthquake nevertheless. Satellite and radar composite shows you just the cloud cover socked in. This is the next storm system we're going to keep an eye on down here that's just south of St. Louis, that's coming up near Paducah, Kentucky. There actually is ice storm warnings out here for portions of Arkansas, Tennessee, going up into Kentucky, so there's going to be a significant ice storm down there, and this is the storm that we're going to keep an eye on for the weekend. So let's time it out on FutureScan. It does overdo the snow a little bit. It's not going to be as widespread as what's being depicted here, but you could see at least a few snow flurries later this afternoon and especially into tonight. Just a couple light snow showers. Again, not expecting anything big time in the snowfall department there. Now, looking down the road, talking about that weekend storm, this is what we know right now. We talked about yesterday how one of the computer models shifted this further to the west and bringing it over to us. Now that looks no more. The issue is going to be, where is this going to track off to the east? Over central New York or off the East Coast? We're more leaning toward the East Coast one. We think that one might be the better idea here. So we're going to be cold and with some wraparound snow. The question is, how much? We don't know yet, but as it looks right now, it's not looking like anything major, but we will see potentially a few snowflakes. So upper 20s will do it today, just a couple renegade snowflakes, and overall that's it. Next 7 days are on the screen right now, brought to you by 42 Degrees and Sunny. 23 tomorrow. Hey, some peaks of sunshine. Typical winter on Friday. We'll have another 23-degree day, a mix of sun and clouds. Late snow showers Saturday into Saturday night. Valentine's Day, 19 snow showers likely with that storm system. Cold again on Monday, 30, and we'll stay cold into Tuesday with highs only around 20. We'll take a break and be right back.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back. Chances are groceries are taking a big bite out of your monthly budget. Experts say unless we really look, we're likely spending more than we think on food. In today's Consumer Watch, 5 tips to reduce your spending while still eating the things you love.
Groceries eating up your monthly budget? Experts say a bit of planning can let you keep more cash in your pocket while still enjoying your favorite items on the menu.
Our food spending is the silent killer of our budget.
Financial counselor Kamiko Love recommends following these 5 steps to reduce spending. Number 1, always start with a list. Before you even head to the grocery store, take inventory of your pantry, fridge, and freezer.
I pick out recipes based on what I already have at home, and I create that list of what I still need to get.
That way you buy only what you need instead of what you're tempted to buy. Number 2, shop from home. Avoid temptations at the grocery store altogether and shop online for grocery pickup or delivery instead. It's easier to delete items from your virtual cart if you're over budget.
But it also allows you to compare pricing very easily because it puts all similar food categories together.
Number 3, don't just check the price. Look at the price per unit. Many times it's cheaper to buy items as a whole instead of buying pre-cut or pre-made products. Number 4, use a loyalty app. Join your grocery store's loyalty programs, follow them on social media, and download their apps to find coupons and other deals. Number 5, buy generic over brand names.
Store brands or generic brands are a lot of the times made in the same facility as the brand names that we gravitate towards.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. Some great tips there. Boy, today must be the temptation day. Let me tell you, I totally know how it feels to be walking through Wegmans and you see things that you just throw in your cart because you're hungry. Let us know what you think about that and more in the comments down below. Good to see Mike, Amy, Sandy, Jonathan, and Tony as well. Hopefully you're all having a great Wednesday as we make it over the hump this week. And Dakota, we've talked about this, I think, over the last couple of months in that, some people still have schedules disrupted. So maybe they're working from home or they're working hybrid. I think a lot of people are finally starting to get back to it, schools opening and things like that. Mm-hmm. But hump day maybe isn't always as it is or was.
Yeah, and speaking about food and the shopping.
Yeah.
It is tempting when you go walk down the aisles, you see something, because it's like, I did that, I think it was last week. I went to the dollar store.
Yep.
And
Dakota, you love that dollar store, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I'm a cheapskate.
It's a great store.
Yes, I'm a cheapskate. So I'm always, in those dollar stores. That's where you can find me, hanging out in the dollar stores. But, I went to the dollar store and, I saw a bag of teddy bear grams. Do you remember those?
Oh,
teddy bear
yeah,
cookies?
yum.
Yeah, well, apparently they have them in a big bag in bite size. And I just passed by them, and I wasn't even looking for them. I just passed by them, and I'm like,
throw them right in the cart.
And I threw it in the cart. So
it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's all right. We'll make it through. It's like the one thing about New Year's resolutions, right, is now is the time when people kind of give them up, and it's like, well, try. A tip, I guess, would be to do it one day at a time, one little bit at a time, and it's like you're not going to get the results you want probably overnight.
Right.
Speaking of overnight, tonight going to be another cold one, it sounds like.
Yes, it's going to be cold. Let's take a look at it. Just a few scattered snow showers tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy. 1 inch or less of accumulation. If there's an inch, it's going to be on the hills. 9 in the deepest valleys, 16 at the Lake Erie shoreline. Then we're keeping our eyes on the weekend. The track of the storm system TBA, but it does look like we're going to be cold with wraparound snow Saturday and Sunday. So Valentine's Day, bundle up, loved ones.
Yeah, certainly, Dakota. Thank you. That's it for us today. News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We're back tomorrow. Hope to see you then.